To the controller's race. Again, it looks like we have a very close race here, but it may be the Democrat once more winning. Harrison Golden for controller statewide right now, 14% of the precincts reporting, has 59% of the vote. And Ned Reagan, the Republican, 41%. We are not projecting this yet, but indeed, if this vote total holds, if those percentages hold, we will have a clean sweep for the first time in 40 years of the Democratic offices, the statewide offices being won by Democrats in New York State. Jack?
All right, Chuck, in just a couple of moments, Tony Guide is going to look at some of the poll information and see if he can give us an idea of why Governor Kerry was reelected. But first, these messages.
An important message to people throughout the New York area. Now you can earn interest on your checking at Citibank. We've taken advantage of a new law and will now offer you 5% interest on checking, the highest interest any bank can pay, even savings banks. 5% checking is the newest addition to 24-hour Citi card banking. At Citibank, we think our customers deserve a lot of easy ways to earn more interest. 5% checking is the newest. Get it. You deserve it.
The city never sleeps. Citibank. You expect more from a leader.
You expect innovative ideas from Amoco. We were a leader in developing lead-free gasoline, the first major brand with 2 grades of lead-free, the first with premium lead-free. Amoco Premium Lead-Free, proven by experience to help stop engine run-on, to burn smoother and help stop knock, and even improve mileage because you don't have to change the timing to prevent knock. Amoco Premium Lead-Free.
We must apologize to you. We'll not have the poll results for you right now because we understand the Connecticut Governor Grasso is at her headquarters in Hartford where she is speaking. We're going to switch there live.
Well, first of all, to get that budget together and to do it, as I said, without any tax increase, without any new taxes. And we're working on some new and exciting job training prospects that I think will help our people along the road and certainly be beneficial in our efforts to attract new business and persuade our business that's already here to grow and to expand.
All right, we're having some trouble with picking up the audio of Grasso. In case you did just join us, we will tell you that she has been projected as having won or will win re-election. Okay, now, in New Jersey, there are a couple of issues on the ballot that are of importance. In Essex County, as you'll recall, the voters last year voted for a reorganization of county government there, and the race is on tonight for Essex County Executive, where 29% of the precincts reporting. Peter Shapiro, the Democrat, is getting 73% of the votes to only 27% for the opponent, Republican Robert Notte. So we have not called a winner yet there, but certainly there is a substantial lead. The other big question is High-Lie, another form of legalized gambling in New Jersey. That is also on the ballot. It is being defeated. That was an open-ended referendum. There was no information in there about how many High-Lie frontons or where they'd be located. Legalized casino gambling was also defeated the first time around, so that is really not surprising. Now, perhaps they will redefine the issue and submit it again, but for the time being, the issue of High-Lie is going down to defeat.
All right, Jack, we have a number of intriguing congressional races in New York State we're going to be looking at next time we see you. Of course, the 18th, the Silk-Stocking District. The 23rd, we have a projected winner in that, Peter Pizer. More on those as we continue in about 20 minutes' time. See you then.
Tempty whipped cream cheese isn't just for people who like bagels.
And the Tempty, please. Thank you.
Tempty is creamy enough to eat with an omelet, light enough and fluffy enough to spread on a croissant, and delicious enough for just about everyone.
Bagel for your Tempty, sir?
A bagel? What's a bagel?
Tempty whipped cream cheese is whipped, so it's bigger than the bagel.
You know what's going to taste really good?
Lipton Copper Soup would taste so good right now.
It's America's Right Now soup. Investigate human potential movement with Donahue tomorrow morning at 9.
NBC News continues its election night report. Decision 78. Here is David Brinkley.
We have some projections beginning in Montana, where we project that the winner in the race for the Senate is the Democrat, Max Baucus, in Montana. Montana, the winner in the Senate, Max Baucus, the Democrat. And in Wyoming, we project the winner there to be Alan Simpson, the Republican. In Wyoming, Simpson, the Republican. Now here is the map showing how we are doing so far, how the parties are doing so far in the elections of senators. As we have said, blue Republican senators projected, red Democratic senators projected. And as you see, it's sort of a checkerboard across the country. The white states we have not yet been able to call because we don't have enough figures yet. And the total figures on the elections of senators so far show that the Democrats have elected 14, the Republicans 9. The net total we will not be able to give you until sometime later when we have more states and more figures. Now, a projection in Nebraska in the election of governor. We project the winner to be the Republican Charles Thone. Nebraska, the governor, the Republican Charles Thone. The map, our big map now lit up for governors, shows a picture something like this. The states that appear in dark gray are states in which there are no elections for governor this year. The white states we have not called yet. The Republicans are shown in blue, projected winners of Republicans in blue. The figures at this hour stand like this. The Democrats have elected 11 governors, the Republicans 6, and at this time, that is by no means the final figure, at this time, the Republicans show a gain of 2. Now we have some returns from our NBC News AP poll today on the subject number 1 this year, the subject of inflation. We asked people who, in your opinion, is to blame for inflation? The president, Congress, business, unions, banks, foreign countries? Well, the poll has questioned 27,000 people across the country on this and other questions. Here are their responses. The biggest group, 45%, is ready to blame somebody or something for inflation, blamed Congress. 45%, the largest number. The next largest group saddled with the blame for inflation was labor unions, 20%. Only 6% blamed the president, 15% business, and a tiny 3% blamed the banks. 5% said they thought consumers were to blame, perhaps because they're spending too much money or something. Some more results from our poll when we asked 30,000 voters whether public employees should be allowed to strike, which is, there have been a great many this year, and it has been a public issue. Only 31% said yes. Almost twice as many said no, that public employees should not be permitted to strike. Among blue-collar workers, 4 out of 10 were against strikes by government employees. Jessica, what do you think of those figures from the Senate race?
From the Senate race on insofar as blaming Congress for on the tax question?
Well, what do you think of either of them?
Wait, before I get to answer that question, we have a remote now from Paul Tsongas, the new senator from the state of Massachusetts.
If you can hang on for a second, I'll be through. So. Well, now look what you've done. I would like to. If you're going to cheer, do it in English, please. Forget the Greek. I would like to start off by saying that I would just like to congratulate Senator Brooke on his grace and his courage. He was a very tough campaigner and showed great resilience. I tried during this campaign to dislike him, but I never could. And I developed, especially during the debates, a great affection for him. And he leaves behind 12 years in the Senate that he has every right to be proud of. And Massachusetts did not make a mistake sending him there for 12 years. And I, for one, think that he should be very proud for what he's done for the state and for this country during those 12 years.
Entire Percy family.
Charles Percy, who retained his Senate seat, making his victory
and your
statement.
goodwill is something that we shall carry proudly all of our lives. That you have selected me to represent you for another 6-year term in the United States Senate. This is truly the greatest honor of my life, and I promise you I will give you my best. This evening is enhanced for me by the victories of so many of my colleagues that I have run arm in arm with, led by Governor Jim Thompson and Bill Scott. They deserve your vote of confidence. I remember what it feels like to lose an election. So I can sympathize with Alex and Francine, as well as with their fine children, Bill, Kathleen, and Robert, and with Alex's parents, Helen and Alex Sr. I wish them all well.
I'd like to make a comment there on Percy's statement. He's talking about the Seath, his opponent, and there were some bitter words between the two of them and included some family members there. I thought it was a very interesting statement.
Didn't it look for a while as if Percy was going down the second time?
It certainly did.
Drowning?
One poll showed him 15 points behind a couple of weeks ago. He certainly looked very relieved there. And also,
well, there's a certain kind of graciousness that comes over politicians when they've won. We've just seen 2 examples of it, Paul Tsongas and Chuck Percy being so terribly nice to their opponents. I wish some night on one of these programs somebody would get up and say, my opponent was a bum. And I'm glad deserved to lose.
Deserved worse.
They're all marvelous at that moment. They're so generous.
the one before that, you saw Paul Tsongas, which, as David, you had been mentioning earlier, there was no animosity between the 2 candidates in that race, so he was pretty true to form when he said that it were the voters in Massachusetts that done well to send Brooke to the Senate for that many years. We have a couple of Senate races we'd like to take a look at this time. In Virginia, with maybe, almost 66% of the precincts reporting in. That race has gone back and forth all night long, and there you see the Democrat Miller, 51% of the vote, Republican John Warner trailing with 49% of the vote. Too close to call, and it's been going back and forth all evening that way. In West Virginia, Archmore and Jennings Randolph, 26% of the precincts reporting at this time. Randolph, 51% of the vote. Archmore, former governor of the state, 49% of the vote, and the battle there between Randolph and his Republican challengers emphasized one of the questions more than any other, and that's who built the most highways and the bridges. Randolph claims he did it as chairman of the Senate Public Works Committee, and Moore says that he did it as the former governor of the state. In North Carolina, a race that NBC News has called, 16% of the precincts reporting Jesse Helms, Republican, holding his Senate seat there. That's a race NBC News has called. In Mississippi, we now project, as you see there, Republican Jesse Helms, reelected in the state. In Mississippi, 20% of the precincts reporting in. There's a race we're going to have to watch, because there's a race where independents really do have a part in making up what could be a Republican victory in the state of Mississippi. Thad Cochran, the U.S. House member, practicing attorney from Jackson, has 45% of the vote. Democrat Maurice Danton, 45%. Those others, the others, again, Charles Evers, brother of slain civil rights leader Medgar Evers, is doing well, and if he does very well, it might be enough to split the vote. If it splits the vote, it could well be that a Republican, Thad Cochran, may be the very first Republican that Mississippi has had since Civil War. And Mississippi has 37% black voters in that state, so it could very well be that Evers will get a significant portion of that black vote. In the state of Texas, let's take a look at some of the results there. 1% of the precincts reporting at this time. John Tower in a tough fight there against his Democratic challenger Kruger. He has 54% of the vote, but of course that's only 1% of the precincts reporting, and that is a race to watch. The Republicans really do want to hang on to that Senate seat. John.
We would like now to project a winner in the gubernatorial contest in the state of Iowa. Governor Robert Ray No real surprise there. We'll have, by our projection, his 5th two-year term. Very popular governor in Iowa, Robert Ray. And on Frank Rizzo and the Philadelphia Charter revision, United Press International says that the voters seem to have defeated the proposal that would have allowed Rizzo to run for a 3rd term. The proposal to allow unlimited terms for mayors in Philadelphia is trailing sizably. And another question, to allow elected officials to hold office while campaigning for another office, is trailing even more. Rizzo is described as subdued. We'll be back with more after this.
You're my relief man?
Relief person.
Is that so? Well, maybe you can give me a little relief for this cold.
Stuffy nose and cough, huh? Here.
Hall's menthol.
Hall's mentholyptus with vapor action.
Hey, that's strong.
That's vapor action. It penetrates deep to make your nasal passages feel clearer. And Hall's cools your throat to help your cough.
You're a terrific relief man person.
Hall's mentholyptus with vapor action in cherry and honey lemon, too.
Show me a soup as beefy as my mom made, and I'll eat it.
Okay, chunky beef.
But Mom's had chunks of beef.
Chunky has chunks of beef.
Mom's had chunks of potatoes, and vegetables, too.
Chunky has chunks of potatoes and vegetables, too.
Mmm.
Beefy enough for you?
I'll eat it. Mmm.
Campbell's Chunky Beef Soup. So chunky, you'll be tempted to eat it with a fork.
But use a spoon to get every drop.
Introducing a whole new breed of Mustang. The all-new '79 Mustang from Ford. With a new aerodynamic design, precise handling, and Mustang performance from options of V6, V8, even a turbocharged engine. Mustang for '79, the new breed in 2-door and 3-door models. Capture one at your Ford dealer now.
We have 2 projections in the votes on taxation and money, beginning in South Dakota, which is where it is called Amendment D, and it provides that any tax increase takes a 2/3 vote of the Senate, of the members of the legislature. Our projection is that that restriction in South Dakota has got a yes vote. It has passed, been approved. In Colorado, it is called Amendment 2, and it says that the state's spending cannot grow faster than the cost of living and the population growth. Our projection is that the response of the voters in Colorado on that question is no. So that's the news at this moment about the money. John?
Well, I'm just looking at our famous computer terminal here. In Florida, former Senator Edward Gurney appears to be losing by a sizable margin in his contest there, with 42% of the precincts now reporting 62% of the vote is going to Gurney's opponent, Bill Nelson, a member of the state house there. He's got 28,000 votes to former Senator Gurney's 17,000. So Gurney has about 38% to 62% for his opponent in the 9th District of Florida. And he talked about this tonight in what I'm told are, I haven't seen this yet, bitter terms. And we'd like to show you that now. Senator Gurney, former Senator Gurney, speaking in Florida at his headquarters tonight.
We have a new congressman. I wish him well. I hope he carries out the statements and promises he made to the people. If he does, we'll have a good congressman.
Is this the end of your campaign career?
Well, indeed it is. I have no desire to run for another one. As a matter of fact, it took a year to make up my mind to do this one, and obviously it'd have been just as well if I hadn't.
What are your comments now about your political comeback? It was a tough road.
Well, I don't think there's much comment to make, except I lost. It's quite evident.
Senator, are you sorry you went into the campaign?
No, I won't say that. It's not a good feeling to lose. As a matter of fact, I think this is the 14th election I've had, and this is the first time I've lost, so I can't exactly say I enjoy it, but at the same time, I enjoy the campaigning.
Do you think the charges that you faced, do you think the bribery charge that you face hurt you anyway? I know you were acquitted.
Yes,
you think
no
it hurt
question
you?
about it. No question about it, it did.
How severely do you think it hurt you?
I can't say that. You'd have to go out and do a poll in depth, but as a matter of fact, I could see that in the primary. I should have won the primary by a much larger margin than I did. And when I didn't, I realized that the effect of the trial was more than I thought.
Would you think that was the primary reason for your defeat?
I couldn't say that. It was one of the ingredients, and as I say, I'm not really interested in going through all of those.
What are you going to do now, sir?
Former Senator Gurney is 64 years old. He says he didn't do terribly well in the primary this year, but he got 70% of the vote in the primary, which most people regard as doing exceedingly well. Some other congressmen who have won tonight: in Indiana, Andy Jacobs is listed as a winner. In Kentucky, Tim Lee Carter is a Republican. A Democrat, Carl Perkins. The chairman of the House Budget Committee, Robert Giammo of North Haven, Connecticut, is running well ahead of his Republican opponent, John Pucciano. Helen Minor, a Democratic incumbent in New Jersey, is a little bit behind, a few hundred votes behind her opponent, who is an attorney named Jim Courter. We don't have all that much vote in yet, and Mrs. Minor could pull it out. And look who's there on our screen, somebody who knows all about these races, the Speaker of the House, Congressman Thomas P. O'Neill of Massachusetts. And David and I and the rest of us are very happy to have you here, Mr. Speaker.
Fine, John. Happy to talk to you.
And if I were sitting there and you and I were just in your office and I asked you how you thought things were going, what would you say?
Well, at the present time, we see about 12 of our members in trouble across the nation. We've already won 2 seats, and we haven't lost any, but there are 12 in trouble, and we looked to see 3 or more that we can possibly win. I'd say at tops we would have a net loss of 12 as compared with the average of the off year when the party in the White House is in power of an average of 36 since 1916. So I say we'll do very well. I'll put it at 12 is the highest that we can possibly lose.
So you think that's not so bad?
Well, no, we have 287 members, and that'll bring us down to about, it'll be above 275, 276, something of that nature.
Well, Mr. Speaker,
we're losing, it seems as though there's a kind of a wave in Pennsylvania at the present time with the Democratic governor going down the way, candidate for governor going down the way he did. We've got 5 or 6 that are in difficulty out there. And that seems to be the one local area. We're doing exceptionally well in New York State with some of our candidates that we thought would be in difficult. We apparently have won the Lou Fry seat down in Florida, and we've won the Saracen seat in Connecticut from what we gather, and it'll be somewhere between 8 and 12 seats that we'll lose.
Is this about what you expected, Mr. Speaker?
Well, yes. We were predicting early in the year we'd somewhere between 12 and 20, but it was interesting. The Republicans targeted 56 seats, and then they brought it down to somewhere around 28, and we figured if we could hold our losses to less than 20, we would be doing well. And so we think that the party has done exceptionally well.
Mr. Speaker.
Somewhere between 8 and 12, I predict right now.
In a year when it seemed the public mood was in tune with the standard Republican positions, why do you feel they weren't able to do better with it?
Well, I just truly believe that in times of crisis, the polls have always showed us that in times of crisis, the people have more confidence in the Democratic Party. There's a crisis now, inflation, no question about it. And the Harris poll, the Gallup poll, the various polls that we see tell us that at times like this, there's a tendency to go to the Democrats, and I think that's what happened. Plus the fact that I believe this year it emanates from grassroots. The Congress of the United States really reads the pulse of the people across the nation, and we took the deficit figure that the president had offered to us earlier in the year, and we cut it $22 billion. And I think the people were cognizant of the fact that we were doing pruning and we were doing cutting, and we were doing exactly what they wanted us to do. And at the same time, while we were doing this, We were coming out with the health programs and the educational programs and thought of the senior citizens. And so overall, the 95th Congress came away, in my opinion, in the minds of the American public, with an excellent record.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, excuse me, but you're a strongly partisan man. You're
very partisan, no question about that.
You're one of the great partisans in the history of American politics.
Well, that's John Rhodes, he'll tell you.
But is there any limit to the size of the Democratic Party? It seems to get bigger all the time in the Congress.
Well, John, there's no limit because of the fact that there are so many under the umbrella or under the tent of the Democratic Party. We have way out liberals and way out conservatives. We have progressive liberals like myself. We have moderates. We have conservatives. Oftentimes we don't go far enough for the ultra liberals, and we always go too far for the ultra conservative. And politics is the art of compromise, and that's what the Democratic Party is: diversity under one umbrella, and compromise is the art. And the American people seem to like that. We have everybody under our tent.
About 5 parties in one.
About 5 parties. Yeah, I think if we were in France, we'd be 5 parties. 5 splinter parties. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for taking the time out to be with us tonight.
Delighted.
Very nice. Thomas P. O'Neill, Tip O'Neill, one of the great political figures in the United States. We'll be back with more coverage after this.
When your headache says,
take something strong.
common sense says,
Take something safe.
6 popular headache remedies. All are safe, used as directed. All but one are regular strength. Of all these, only one, Anacin, combines that safety with extra strength. Anacin's pain reliever is recognized by experts as safe, used as directed.
Strength with safety. That's common sense.
Of all these, only one, Anacin, combines safety you expect with extra strength you want.
I'm not going, and that's final.
You're overreacting, Phil. What's the matter?
Well, his doctor told him caffeine bothers him.
You should drink Sanka brand decaffeinated coffee.
But I only like real coffee.
Phil, Sanka brand is 100% real coffee. Try it.
This is real coffee.
My goodness, look at the lovebirds.
That's what happens when you fall in love with Sanka brand.
Sanka brand, the coffee that lets you be your best.
And in this quarter, introducing the champ, Plymouth's all-new mileage champ for 79 with a record of 43 miles per gallon. Highway 33 City. Imagine that. Champ's got front-wheel drive and a twin-stick transmission for terrific economy and an extra power punch when you need it. The new Plymouth Champ. That's imagination. That's Plymouth.
Now we're going to look at some of the returns from the tax proposals that people have been voting on during the day, beginning in Illinois, where the question put to the people was, would you like to have some kind of law or something putting a ceiling on the state's spending? We projected some time ago that the result there would be a yes vote. Those are the figures at this time. 82% have said yes. Now, in Michigan, there are 2 separate propositions in Michigan. One called Proposition J, which would make substantial cuts in property taxes. Substantial cuts. At this hour, with 6% of the precincts voting, 6% in, the no vote is a little ahead, 58,000 to 55,000, 52% to 48, which may be surprising. Michigan has another proposition called E, Proposition E, which does not cut taxes. It merely puts a freeze on spending in the future. And the returns on that are 65% no and 35% yes, which may also be surprising. In any case, that's where it stands at this moment. The governor in Connecticut, Grasso, we projected to have been reelected. She has made a little statement on her reelection, and here's what she said. Governor Ella Grasso, Connecticut.
I think we won. And I think that it was a great victory, truly. We had a wonderful turnout, and that's the expression of the confidence and the interest of the people of our state in their affairs. And I said before that we've been so honored to serve them all of these years, and it will be my pleasure in these next 4 years to renew our partnership and to get all of our work done. And tonight, I want to say thank you to each one of you here in this room. I know what you did to help us get out the vote, to help establish confidence in our ticket and in our party, and I am most grateful and most appreciative. I want to thank Howard, who served as my campaign manager.
Bill Bradley, whom we have projected to be the winner in New Jersey in the race for the Senate, has a little something to say. And we're going to switch there and see what it is. Bill Bradley, basketball player, Democrat, our projected winner for the Senate in New Jersey.
Thank you. Thank you. First, let me say a word about Jeff Bell.
What for?
Jeff Bell
Down with the camera. Camera's down. Down, please.
ran a clean campaign based on issues. He and I disagreed fundamentally, but because in 21 debates we discussed what to do about taxes and government, inflation and jobs, we participated in a real campaign, not one based on personalities or innuendo. Jeff Bell was a hard and worthy adversary, and for that, he has my respect.
Well, one thing you can say about Bill Bradley, he's tall enough so that you can see him in any kind of crowd. We'll be back with more after this.
On Dick Clark's Live Wednesday, scheduled to appear Charo, Tom Jones, Aretha Franklin, David Steinberg, Milton Berle, and An Amazing Illusion and more. Live Wednesday on NBC.
Nick Nolte in return to Macon County. They planned on running in drag racing's nationals. Instead, they're running for their lives.
We got everybody chasing us.
Nick Nolte, Wednesday.
Wait till you see the kitchen. Beautiful.
And here's a little housewarming gift.
Oh, I'll get the glasses.
Use these.
Puritan oil.